Hey everyone, welcome back. I hope you all had a very Merry Christmas for those who celebrate and a Happy New Year. It was a very hectic but wonderful holiday period for myself, a lot of travelling to see friends and family and drawing in any and all free time I could find. So I'm back to present to you the evolutions of my water-type starter Pokemon Silachimera for my all-new Pokemon region. This will round out the starters, so if you haven't watched the grass or fire-type design videos yet, what are you doing here? Please go and check them out. But for those of you who have, let's talk about Plague Doctors. I initially designed Silachimera after the Chimaera shark. It's cute and creepy, and after deciding on the pseudoscience theme for the starter trio, I thought a Plague Doctor would be the perfect route to go with this line. I knew it would be a challenge translating the Plague Doctor outfit onto a shark body plan, but I thought design elements such as the mask, gloves, and cane, as well as the other little accessories that they carry around, would give me a bunch of ideas to work with. So diving into Silachimera's first evolution, I'd actually tried a few different concepts before Plague Doctor. At this point, I'd already designed its final evolution and thought to try a different concept to make it unique. I initially landed on the idea of a burglar Pokemon, thinking it could collect and hoard a bunch of ingredients which it uses when it evolves in potions and medicine. To convey the burglar angle, I added a mask which doubled as a link to the final evolution, and decided to add black gloves to its hand fins. Speaking of which, you'll see I make its fins more like claws. That's because someone commented on the starter design video saying Silachimera doesn't look like it can walk on land, which is obviously a big issue for starter Pokemon. When designing it, I did try to make its fins look dexterous enough for it to walk on land, like Poplio, but evidently that didn't translate, so I decided to give it some hands and feet so it could live outside of the water, kind of like Fakemon. As you know, I found out about the weird and wonderful Chimaera shark via a documentary I caught on TV late one night. During the same documentary, I found out about the Thresher shark. This species have an extremely long upper caudal lobe, which it can whip at high speeds to stun prey. I thought it was too cool not to include in this evolution line, so that's what this species, the middle evolution, is based upon. And this was the point where I really started struggling with the composition of this Pokemon. I used the red lines in Silachimera's design to add stripes to this design to give it kind of like a burglar outfit kind of look, but it all felt quite uninspired. The design was boring, the tail looked all wrong no matter how many times I tried to redraw it, and I refused to settle for a mediocre design. So, as some of the great digital artists of our time say, I deleted my art. And yeah, it was the right call. I pivoted back to the Plague Doctor design and turned the Thresher shark tail into a gorgeous pair of wings. I made its dorsal fin kinda heart-shaped before adding in its creepy glowing red details. I decided I wanted this line to be a water and fairy type, as I think these Plague Doctor-inspired Pokemon are whimsical and mysterious and benevolent, which are all attributes I'd say are characteristics of fairies. I included a series of red circles amongst the red detailing, so it would be reminiscent of a buttoned lab coat, and added an eye detail akin to a scar. This design quickly started coming together as I finished off the line work and moved into the colouring. It keeps the cuteness of Silachimera whilst pushing the creepiness to new heights. I think it ended up being a very successful design. Thresher, the maritime collector Pokemon. Thresher, inquisitive and mischievous, resides in the ocean's depths, collecting sea plants and coral. Sailors, honouring an old tradition, offer gifts to Thresher, believed to ensure good health on their journeys. Reports tell of Thresher's caring nature, tending to sick Pokemon by crafting remedies from its oceanic treasures. Whilst there is much to learn about this mysterious Pokemon, they have built a reputation of being a guardian of the seas, a silent healer beneath the waves. Now on to the final evolution, and boy was I excited for this design. I first decided to brainstorm some more concepts, as aside from inspirations from pseudoscience, the grass starter had influences such as the serpent from the Garden of Eden, and the fire starter being based upon a painting entitled Saint Michael Triumphs Over the Devil. I initially wanted to base it on Noah's Ark, as I've had the idea of a boat Pokemon stuck in my head for a very long time. I tried a few designs where I made its nose the bow of a ship, but I quickly realised it was overcomplicating the design. Whilst the final evolution starter Pokemon can have ornate and intricate details, they have to stay friendly looking and decidedly animal in nature. From there, I pivoted to the concept of a Leviathan, a great and powerful sea monster. I also chose to base this evolution on the Goblin Shark, as it is very creepy and its protruding nose is just begging to be turned into a Plague Doctor mask. Sketching out its body, I tried to make it seem serpentine and powerful, like an ancient sea monster. I then worked on adding as many references to Plague Doctors as I could. Looking at reference images, I saw a lot of hourglass and wing symbolism, so I added a wing to the mask and an hourglass to its chest. I played around with adding a lantern to its tail to make it seem like it creeps around during the night. Ultimately, it felt a bit too much for this design, but turned the lantern into a glowing orb instead. At this point, I was very happy with the design, but needed some more elements to fill the empty space on its body. I thought adding a cape would be the perfect idea, so started sketching some designs. But it was a bit of a struggle. I tried multiple avenues, a traditional cape that felt too much like an accessory, a spiny kind of cape that would work well on some stylized sea monster designs, but felt so out of place on this softer looking Pokemon. After taking a little break and having a think, I came to the conclusion that my issue with the cape so far is that they all felt flat. I tried some chonky looking curves to suggest a cape that could also double as spines or tendrils, and I think this was a nice middle ground. I incorporated the same design into the skirt and then planned on where I was going to add the red detailing. I thought it would be best to keep the detailing to a minimum, so as to not make the design too busy, and then got on with the colouring. The colouring was the same as always, starting with a flat colour with a watercolour brush to create a tiny bit of grain, and then blocking in the dark and the lights, blending slightly in between. What do you all think about the new drawing video format? Someone very kindly commented on one of my videos suggesting I use the time-lapse feature on Procreate, which I didn't actually know existed. I think it looks a lot smoother without all the zooming in and out, however, the line work looks quite pixelated, and not as it did whilst I was actually drawing or as it looks like in a still image. Overall, this method looks a lot better and saves me a lot of editing time, so I think I'll continue using this moving forward. So very many thanks to the viewer that suggested that. Anyways, back to the design. I think it really came together with the shading. It looks grand and powerful and intimidating, whilst also looking cute and aloof. I think it rounds out the starter trio very well, with there being something for everyone. I tried to make the pose look playful and give them movement, and I really like the way the back foot just kind of sticks up like that, similar to a dog getting belly rubs. Overall, I am ecstatic with this entire line, and I'm glad to be entering the new year making art I absolutely adore. Silachimera, the deep sea mystery Pokemon. Silachimera dwells in the ocean's abyss, its eyes adapted to darkness. Emitting an otherworldly glow from its tail, it lures prey close and catches it with its tendrils. Legends speak of Silachimera's elusive nature. Encountering one may bring fortune and healing, but some who come into contact with Silachimera vanish forever. A mysterious creature with the power to bestow blessings or mystery, Silachimera remains a symbol of the deep and the unknown. And there you have it, the water starter line is done, and with it, the completion of all the starters. Honestly, I could not be happier with how all these Fakemon turned out. They are all so diverse and have so much character. It has been a challenging process, but I think I've grown as an artist and have had so much fun. And I guess the fun will only continue as I've got the rest of the decks to fill out. Let me know which of the final evolutions you like the most. And if you like Thresher and Goblin, I would really appreciate if you liked the video and subscribed to the channel. I also want your thoughts on my producing some non-Pokemon content. I have a few ideas for series, including me making my own set of spooky tarot cards or sculpting some cryptids with clay. If you guys would be interested, please let me know. I think it would be fun to diversify the content I make. That's all for this video. Thank you if you've made it this far. I really appreciate it. Goodbye.